Hello everyone, welcome back to Tiny House and Off-Grid Resources, and welcome back to week 2 of The Naked Blacksmith, where I start off with absolutely nothing in the way of equipment or experience or skills, and I set myself up as a working blacksmith so that I can create one-off Christmas presents and birthday presents for my friends and family, fix things that occur from time to time around here, and also make my own specialist tools that I can use in other aspects of my work. The first 2 weeks have been really interesting. My goal was to set myself up with a working blacksmith's workshop for under $500 US. I'm well on the way to achieving that. Rather than cobble something up out of a large lump of metal that will, chances are, not be perfect for the purpose, I did opt to go out and buy myself a brand new anvil. Brand new, mainly because all the second-hand ones are way down in the South Island of New Zealand and freight is expensive. I have the opportunity to drive to New Zealand's biggest city, Auckland, quite regularly. So I waited until I was heading up to Auckland to go and buy myself an anvil. In the meantime, I spent a lot of time on the trading websites, seeing what was available second-hand, who had the best brand new ones, and who I should really avoid. Now we'll start at the bottom of the list and end up with where I actually ended up purchasing. But the first thing I noticed was unscrupulous dealers and private sellers who didn't know what they got. They were guessing at the weight and the age and the value of the anvils. The unscrupulous dealers, many of those were the same. They just buy stuff in from that big Asian company that makes everything and sell it on their little websites here in New Zealand. So they end up with a wide variety of things. You've got everything from disposable nappies to anvils. Well, as I say, I stayed well clear. They obviously didn't know what they were talking about. They can't answer my questions accurately or truthfully, perhaps. So I opted with looking at actual tool supply businesses that were selling anvils. Once again, I found a wide disparity, and I opted to go in the end with a company called Loven Tools. Loven Tools have got branches around Auckland, and they sell mainly tools for the building industry, but they do dabble in other areas as well. And there I found that they had hardened-faced forged steel anvils in a range of 5 sizes from 10 kg through to 98 kg. The 98 kg was 1,400 New Zealand dollars, $700 US. The cheapest of their anvils, a little 10 kg one, was just a shade over $100 US. Sorry, just a shade over $100 New Zealand, or $50 US. But a 10 kg anvil is of no use to me. What I was advised was to buy an anvil that was at least 10 times the weight of the largest hammer that I would be using. Well, if I'm using a 4-pound hammer, that means I need a 40-pound anvil. Well, I discovered that a 40-pound anvil was actually still quite small. So I decided to go bigger, and I ended up with a 105-pound anvil. It's still not huge. It only has a 3-inch face, but you know what? With the small amount of work that I've been doing already, I think I'm learning that a 3-inch face, for me, is better than a 4-inch face. Bigger isn't always better. I do want the ability to be able to move it outside when the time comes, and I may have to just drag it around the workshop a wee way. So it is movable, but I've mounted it inside a drum of sand on a heavy oak stump. For my height, I found that 480 millimeters is the perfect height for me to be working on this anvil. They say that it should be at knuckle dragging height. When you're standing straight and you comfortably just let your knuckles hang, that should be the working face of your anvil. So where have I been picking up all these skills? Well, for the last 4 weeks, I've been attending the University of YouTube on a nightly basis. Channels that I have enjoyed watching and really learnt something from are few and far between. I've picked about 4 that I can hold in my head as being the kind of channel that I'd go and look for. There's Black Bear Forge. He's very practical. He's got a quiet, methodical method of showing you how things need to be. I find that the English guy, Daniel Moss, is very, very practical. He gives a lot of information on making tools. For me, that's been invaluable. He's given me inspiration on tong making. He's given me the confidence to reforge an old 3-pounder and turn it into a hammer that I can be proud of, hopefully. Christ-Centered Ironworks is an interesting channel. Aside from his religious beliefs, his workshop is very, very busy and quite commercial, and he shares information on a wide range of interesting projects, but he's very, very good, and the information is very freely given. He's full of tips and tricks. The 2 channels that I watch purely for entertainment: Purgatory Ironworks. Never quite know what's going to happen at Purgatory Ironworks. And last but not least, there's a young English chap by the name of Alex Steele. For me, Alex Steele is blacksmithing's Jeremy Clarkson. He's entertaining, but not to be taken too seriously. Now, last week, I got an unexpected email from the CBA, the California Blacksmith Association. Turns out I'm not in trouble. One of the instructors at the California Blacksmith Association has taken an interest in what I'm doing and has sent me a handful of long, informative and interesting emails where he's clarified points for me. He's put me right when I was blatantly wrong, and he's offered me encouragement. He's my new blacksmithing guru, I think. He's my go-to man. Somebody who is an actual blacksmithing instructor that I can just email, and within 12 hours he's sent me a really comprehensive reply to my questions. Thank you, Grant. It's so helpful to have you on the team. I'm really happy with my $35 forge. It's everything that I hoped it would be and more. I've played with it quite a lot over the last few days. I've put 3 bottles of gas through it, which will be about 20 hours running time from what I can gather. I'm going to be using this hammer to reforge the sister to the hammer that you saw me use over the last couple of videos. I've already had a play with this one. I've rounded off this end and I've removed the hard chamfers that were on the flat end, and it's just made it that little bit more usable, but I've still got to deal with the handle. Now, this hammer's sister is another 3-pound club hammer. These things are nothing special. They're made for knocking in tent pegs and bending big nails straight. That's about all. But what I'm going to do is reforge this hammer into a crosspeen and then dress it and tidy it up and make it as usable as this one. On this hammer you can already see that I've worked on the handle. Very proud of this. This is a handle that I made from 2 pieces of Quila hardwood decking laminated together and profile cut on a bandsaw, then finished with this tool here, which is a traditional spoke shave. Who knows, this particular one could be getting on for 100 years old, but it works just perfectly. I knocked out 2 handles. One I did with the grinder with the sanding disc. The other I did with the spoke shave. No other tool was involved, not even a piece of sandpaper. This is a beautiful finish. It's beautifully shaped, and it was made with no other tool than this. This tool can take off huge, great wads of material, or it can be like sanding, depending on how you hold it. It's very enjoyable using one of these. This one, I overcooked in a couple of places, and it's ended up very thin through here. I'll use it till it breaks, but I can see that it's never going to be my favourite hammer handle. So as I say, pieces of Quila decking, hardwood chair legs, any of those things can be used to make hammer handles, and it's very enjoyable to do so. There'll be a video coming up in a few days' time on exactly that. I started off with no clues, no tools. The whole ethos here at Tiny House and Off-Grid Resources is to reuse, repair, remake. So if that sounds like a bit of you, why not subscribe to the channel? The button's down below. While you're down there, you could give the old like button a tickle as well. And if you didn't like the video, hit the dislike button. In fact, hit it twice. See what happens.